Okay. Well, it's for me a pleasure to introduce to LST, Low Season Traveler podcast, Ofelia Rangel. She is Mexican as me. My name is Jorge. I'm the Mexico specialist for Low Season Traveler as well. And today we're going to be talking about the Dia de Muertos, the Day of Death in Mexico. It's a tradition really important for us. And now it's really popular in the world because of a lot of movies like Disney Coco. And today, Ophelia is going to talk about a lot of things. She's going to give us a lot of details, and we're going to give it a bit of a tourism perspective of Dia de Muertos. And hello, Ophelia, how are you?
Hi, good, and you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. Well, the first question I would like to ask you, Ophelia, is what is Day of Death?
So, the Day of the Dead, it's a celebration that it goes like really years ago with the pre-Hispanic era in Mexico. So, it was believed that when the indigenous people believe that when someone dies, they have to go to this journey and they pretty much do some offering for them. The most popular legend where it says that this day began was with the Mexicas indigenous people. The legend says that people that are already dead, they have to go to this kind of journey for 9 different regions. They say that, for example, kids, women, and really good warriors, they didn't have to go through all this process, but other people, they have to go to these 9 different process in order for their soul to really like go in peace or really rest. So each region has like their own difficulties, because it was believed that they have to go pretty much 4 years for this process in order for them to just release or to separate themselves from their body and from their emotions.
Okay.
Once the Spanish people came to Mexico, it was a mix of these indigenous traditions that they have and the religious from the Catholic religion as well. So that's why it starts on the 1st of November, that it's the Day of All the Saints, that it's
Okay.
also go over with the Catholic religious. And then it goes on the 2nd of November, that it's the Day of the Dead.
Okay, yeah, it's Day of the Dead is very complex. Even I'm Mexican and I'm from Yucatan, the south of Mexico, and Ophelia is from the north, Monterrey, and it's quite different. And I don't know a lot of things about Day of Dead in the dead in other parts of Mexico. It's really interesting. And for example, can you talk a bit about your makeup? It's really beautiful, and but I would like to know more about that.
Thanks. So yeah, so pretty much one thing that we do in Mexico, I guess that pretty much it goes common in a lot of states, is that we dress as Catrinas. So the Catrina, it goes back to Jose Guadalupe Posada, who was a cartoonist, and he started making like this social critic about how some women especially start believing that they were something that they were not. And so he started doing like these little cartoons that I have in here,
Mm,
just to make a critic and say like, even it doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your social economic status, everyone at the end is going to die, and they die, and it's going to be the same for everyone. So he didn't name it Katrina, he named it Calaveras, but the name of the Katrina then goes to Diego Rivera, who make a really like big painting, and he paint Jose Guadalupe Posada, and on his side he create this calaca or calavera, but he dressed it like a really beautiful woman with really like luxurious dress and a big really hat, and he named it Katrina from there.
just for the record, Diego Rivera was the Frida Kahlo's husband.
Yeah,
And well, and just to clarify a bit the names, Calavera means skeleton.
yeah. So you can say yeah, like a skeleton, a skull. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, it's really interesting. I didn't know that, and I'm Mexican. Well, can you talk a bit more about the days of the dead? For example, you told us that it started on the 1st of November and continues until today. And can you
Yeah. So
explain us a bit of that?
Yeah, so I was reading a little bit about it, and some people believe that it started actually a little bit more early, like from the 26th of October, just in order to like separate the dates and to celebrate each different type of souls, like elder people, like also for animals and everything, all that. But the more common ones are the first and the second. The first one, the 1st of November, is believed that the soul of the kids come back and visit their families. And then on the 2nd of November, the souls of the adults come.
Okay, okay. Do you know what's the difference between each region of Mexico? For example, Yucatan, Michoacan, or the north?
Well, like for example, I'm from Monterrey, that is just under Texas, and it's not that really a traditional state. Like we do celebrate it, and in the schools they make you do like the altar and do some calaveritas, like some poems.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's not like you see it like in different states. Like I see some videos of what it's Oaxaca or Michoacan, where they really celebrate it, and when like pretty much the whole community go to the cemetery and make offerings for their families. So yeah, like you say at the beginning, each region of Mexico is really different, and some things that they do we don't know about it. Like for example, the dead bread. So the most common one, I have one in here. So the most common one is like this one. So just a circle and a skull. But I know that, for example, in Oaxaca, they made like three different breads of that, and I didn't know about it until I started like researching and started like looking a little bit more about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's by the way, those breaths of death. What's the meaning of that?
So let me do it. So it's a circle. So it's believed that it's like the cycle of life. So it goes from one beginning until the end, and then so it has a little circle that is believed that it's the heart or the skull of the person, and then it has like these like 4 points that represent of the cardinal points, but it can also represent the tears of the people that already passed away.
Mm, interesting. Didn't know that neither. Okay. Well, we're talking about the bread, but is there any other traditions or food that people do for in these days? For example, you talk about the
So
altar as well. Do you put food on the altar?
yeah, so pretty much we do a lot of things. The most common one is like the bread, but we also do some altar. So I have here mine. I
Hmm.
don't know if you can see it all. So it's there are different types of altar. The most common ones are two levels that is like the underworld and the living world, and then the three levels, that is the one that I made. That it's heaven, purgatory, and the earth. And then it's also another of seven levels that it's supposed to be the seven like big scenes.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but it's pretty much nothing is wrong. You can make it as you wish, and you can put whatever you want as well. But there's like certain symbols that you have to put in the altar in order for the soul to like really come to the house. Like for example, we have a really traditional flower that is cempasúchil. In English, I think it's marigold, orange marigold, and this one represents or uh, it helps the souls to come to your house because of the scent that it has, that it's like quite really strong, and also because the Mexicans believe that it have the power of the sun or the warmth of the sun inside, and that's why they come to your house because of that scent and because of that warmth that it has.
Good. Okay, now I would like to go a bit more into the tourism part.
Mhm.
And it's a coincidence, but the low season in Mexico is in November. Part of
Yeah.
low season is in November. So I think it's a good excuse to go to Mexico to see this. But if you have to choose two or three places to go to Mexico and see the Dia de Muertos, the Day of the Dead, where where do you go? Where do you go? Where will
So
you go?
definitely Oaxaca and Michoacan, because I know I haven't go there, but I know for a lot of people that it's like really representative and like it goes really festive in there. And if you want, you can also go to Mexico City. They start doing like this big carnival after the James Bond movie that it came up. They start doing all these festivities there in the center of Mexico City. And if you want to, like, I don't know, see some archaeological sites like Teotihuacan, or they have another one in the center. It's a really, I don't know, good place to go as well and celebrate the Day of the Dead in there.
Yeah, and Michoacan, as you mentioned, Pátzcuaro is, I think, well, personally, it's the best place to go to see the Day of the Dead. It's like Pátzcuaro, it's like a small island in the middle of a lake, and the whole island is like becomes like surreal. It's like something magical. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, I was.
colors, candles. I think the movie Coco is based on that.
Yeah, and I saw also there's a YouTube video of one US citizen that went to Pascuaro in the Day of the Dead, and it shows and it goes to the cemetery, and it's just really beautiful. You see like all these altars in the cemetery, you see mariachi in there, you see all these family just being there and talking about the persons that are already left and that they really love. And something that I really love about that video that I saw is that um, even though Mexicans are like in this celebration, are really like trying to be with their families and trying to remember those that are already left, they are really open to share this beautiful tradition with the tourism. So pretty much you can see like different tourists just asking people if they can take pictures, and Mexicans are really open to that and to like really share this part of Mexico.
Yeah, that's the next question I was going to ask you. That if a foreigner can go and be part of this tradition, and
Yeah,
of
I
course,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's this girl that asked me, she's from Chile, and she asked me like if we didn't, like, I don't know, feel angry when we see like, I don't know, like Disney make a movie about something that they don't really know, or like Barbie make like this Katrina doll. And I think that, at least for me, it's more like once you start seeing that people are really knowing your culture and really like respecting that part, and I really like, I don't know, willing to know a little bit more, it just makes me happy.
yeah, exactly. Talking about the doll, you have one Katrina. Can you show us
Yeah.
the Katrina? I would like to see it again and to show to all the audience.
So
Yeah,
this one is made by a Mexican girl here in Melbourne. It's made with papel mache. I don't know how you say it in English. And yeah, it has the monarch butterflies. It's just really beautiful.
so this one is from Michoacan.
I'm not sure. She made like this. So each one that she makes is really unique. So I guess yes, because of the butterflies.
Mhm.
But she has like different styles.
Okay, okay, I like it. Thank you for sharing that. And well, we talk about that. We talk about the tourism, but let's go back a bit the traditions and the culture. Let's try to show the audience how important it is for us this day. So, why do you think that Mexicans l- live and play with death?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have asked me that they are not from Mexico. They are like, oh, but it's something like really obscure. It's something I don't know. Like they think that we make like these rituals and like we ask like souls to come with us, but I think it's actually the opposite, and it is like it's just to remember and to really like from the whole year that we have, to really focus on one day on those people that are already left and that were really important for us. I think Mexican culture has like really funny thing to make fun of really like serious things like the dead. But I guess for us, the dead is just another part of our life that we are going to go into some day in our life. And yeah, I think it's just something instead of to making it scary, just to making it fun.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think it's like a good tradition that is not really known in the rest of the world. Well, it's really known, but not deeply.
Yeah.
So, do you think is there any myths on this? Like you're talking about, it's really obscure and on all of that, but what else can you tell us about if you know any myths about the Day of the Dead that foreigners think, or you live in Australia, asking people ask you about this?
Well, like last day I went to a shop that she was making a little altar in the shop, and there was one guy passing by, and then he asked us if we put all these little skulls to like scare all the bad spirits from the house. And I was like, well, actually it's the opposite. We put the skulls so we can like represent each one that we put in the offer for.
Okay, okay. Just I think this is the last question. Um, if you can tell something to the foreigners, to people, the visitors that want to go and visit Mexico in this specific time, what will you suggest to them to do, what not to do, and basically, why do you think people should go to Mexico to see the Day of the Dead?
So when I arrived here to Australia, there was like this really misconception about Mexico, especially because of all the movies and because of all the news that they receive. And they think that Mexico is like a really dangerous country, which is actually not. I think it's just a really common sense. Like if you're going to travel to a different country, uh, don't go to places that you don't know, like really go to tourist places or places that they recommend you to. I guess it's really good to always try to make friends and of the local people in there, especially in Mexico. Last year my boyfriend is from Colombia, and he was just fascinated with all Mexican people. He was talking with the like the Uber drivers, and they were just telling you about all this history that they know about these different cities. So I guess Mexico is a really beautiful country, not only in their landscapes and in their traditions, but because it has all these people and all these kind of culture where we really welcome different tourists, and we really try to make them feel like they're also family as gays.
Yeah, yeah. It's Mexico. It's like, as you said, is a lot of things, not just beaches and views and food. There are a lot of
Yeah.
traditions like Day of the Dead and Christmas. We celebrate in a different way as well. And so I think it's a good thing to talk about the Day of the Dead, especially today that is the Day of the Dead. Well,
Yeah.
just here in Australia because it might be tomorrow in Mexico. But so it's like for us it's normal. And for example, from where I'm from, the only difference is the food and some of the decorations in the altar, but it's basically the
Yeah.
same. And I was reading as well a bit about this, and I think it's a Celtic. The origins of all of this is Celtic, and as you said,
Yeah.
Spanish people brought it to Mexico. But um, do you know a bit more about the priest, the story before Mexico, how it started?
So like you say, it's kind of like a Celtic, and like when I was researching, I was seeing like the difference between Halloween and between the Day of the Dead. And mainly Halloween, yeah, it goes back to like really these Celtic traditions before, and the Day of the Dead is more about like all these traditions that indigenous people do. So something that is really common and that we still do when they do it back all those years back, it's that they make all these offerings for their dead. So I know that the Mexicas, they use a really special flower. Back then it was a yellow flower, which represent the living and the dead. And after that it just went like an evolution, and it changed it to the cempasúchil flower. So a lot of things that we do now for the Day of the Dead are things that indigenous people do back then.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think we have a lot of information from you, Ophelia. Was a really short time, and but I think it's really, really, really interesting. These all of these topics, even for me that I'm Mexican, but for our audience, it's like really, really interesting. I think, and just invite the visitors to go to Mexico, especially in this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best like months to go to Mexico, it's starting from September when you have like the Independence Day, and after that is just pretty much a lot of celebrations going through. So you got the what is it? So Independence Day, and we start doing the Day of the Dead, and after that we have Christmas. We also celebrate like you go to the streets and you see like all these lights, all these kind of like decorations and in the street. And then in January we have the what it's Dia de Reyes. I don't know
Yeah,
how you say it in
three
English.
wisdom things, I think it's called in English.
Yeah, so I think the best season to go into Mexico is from September until probably February, because as you say, it's low season. You can do a lot of things, and there are a lot of celebrations that you will really love to.
Yeah, exactly. The low season in Mexico, it's March, April, but it's mainly from September to November, and this time is when all these events happen in Independence Day, Day of the Dead, and actually as well the Revolution Day is coming on, and the 20th
Oh yeah.
of November. So we have a lot of celebration and parties in Mexico in low season. So please, if you want to know Mexico, do it in low season. It's much better. It's less crowded. It's cheaper, and you will enjoy more the experience. And you will have this unique experience the Day of the Dead. And well, let me say thank you to you, Ophelia, for this little talk, but really, really, really rich. And you're welcome to this podcast, to this live all the time on everyone you want to come. Low Season Traveler is your home, and just thank you so much for to all the audience to be here. And it's going to be an honor to be again with you. And please visit Mexico, especially in low season. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Bye.